Hey guys, it's AcK I, and today I'm going to be doing an overview of the PlayStation 4 announcement. As you know, the PlayStation 4 announcement has been held in New York on the 20th of February, and they've been announcing the PlayStation 4. So, the beginning of the presentation was a videotape of the history of the PlayStation, ranging from the PlayStation 1, PSP, PlayStation 2, PlayStation Vita, so on and so forth. So after about 5 minutes of an epic video with intense bass music, flashy lights and abstract art and everything, we got onto the actual presentation, which Andrew House first came up, which I'm not too sure who he is, but anyway. So the gamer is now the focal point, is what there was always saying, that the gamer is always focused, but I mean, I kind of hope that the gamer is the main focal point, as it is a games console. So they began with saying how the PlayStation 4 will unlock the Vita's potential. So the Vita will be a very good companion to the PlayStation 4. That the PlayStation 4 will unlock the Vita's potential and basically just be a secondary PlayStation in a way, a handheld PlayStation 4 that also connects very well with the PlayStation 4. So they're saying that when they was designing it, they spoke primarily to a lot of developers to see what they was missing in a console and what they wanted in the next gen consoles. So it's good to see that they are listening to the developers, and then so the developers can develop a better game for us, the gamers. So then they announced the actual PlayStation 4 and announced it was in fact using a PC architecture build. So it will be constructed in a very similar way to a computer that you are probably listening to this on or watching this on. So the PC CPU that it will be using will be an x86 CPU, not the cell CPU, which caused so much hassle, but the Sony thought was absolutely excellent in the PlayStation 3. So that will be good. So the developers won't be restricted as much by the cell processor and having to code for effectively two separate machines between the Xbox, whatever it's going to be called, and the PlayStation 4. So they also announced that they will be using a PC GPU. Now, they didn't state any specifics of what that you'd be using, whether it's an Nvidia, an AMD, or their own type of card. So hopefully they'll be announcing more about that at E3 maybe. And then they also went on to say that it was an 8 gigabytes of memory that will be incorporated into the PS4, and it will also be unified. As I'm sure many of you know, the PlayStation 4 was the PlayStation 3, was held back by restrictions from the RAM, which is why essentially PlayStation 3 users couldn't use Party Chat, because it was, I believe, 2 modules of 256 megabytes of RAM. However, now I'm guessing that they are using one 8 gigabyte DIMM of RAM. So, and then also they went on to say that it's got a built-in hard drive, which will obviously equal off the space, which I'll get onto a bit later. So, next they went on to show us the DualShock 4 controller, which is identical to the leaked controllers which has been popping out for the past week. And so they said that the DualShock 4 controller will have reduced latency, which so then maybe, I'm not too sure what the current DualShock 3 controller has, but maybe it will only be 1 millisecond response time, which is very good for wireless devices, and also an LED screen. However, they didn't state the pixels per inch of the screen or the size of the screen, but judging by the screen, it was a longer screen than high screen. But there'll be a picture in the top right corner as you're watching this to have a look at the actual device. So also on the controller was a headphone port, but the headphone port was a proprietary port, so you'll probably have to buy Sony headphones, but again, we'll have to wait and see. And also, very interesting, really, there was a share button. Now, I will get onto this a bit more, but the share button will allow you to live stream and share what you are doing at the time in your game. So also on the back of the controller there is a light bar which lets you easily tell the difference between the controllers for if there's one or two players of the controllers. And I'm sorry about this blackout here, I don't quite know what happened. So, and then the light bar also allows you to use it very much like a Move controller, as you can I'm not too sure if you can purchase this separately or if it comes with the console, but it's a stereo camera, which means that it's got two cameras on it to read the light bar. So that's all that's said about the DualShock controller, but it looks very much like a DualShock 3 with an LED screen and then the other little bits and bobs of features that I've already listed. So then they went into the what hardware will be inside of the PlayStation 4. So they mentioned that it would be an 8-core CPU. So that almost eliminates the fact of it being a Intel CPU. So it's almost definitely either a IBM processor, AMD processor, which I think will be most likely, or a Sony developed processor like the PlayStation 3. So they also said something about the GPU, but due to the poor quality of the Twitch.tv live stream, I was unable to catch this. So they were saying how the CPU and the GPU is actually an APU, which is a combined processor and graphics card. Now, typically the GPU and CPU, an APU, is frowned upon in the PC industry, but we'll have to see how Sony handle this. And also, very interestingly, they will be using GDDR5 memory. Now, if you know anything about hardware, GDDR5 memory is a very fast memory. So if they are also sharing this with the CPU, this will unlock a lot of potential for the CPU, and 8 gigabytes of memory is astounding, which I believe may open up that it may have maybe triple monitors for a surround sound setup, not surround sound, a surround view setup, as the 8 gigabytes of 8 gigabytes, I can't remember what the actual term of it is, but it allows you to have more monitors, so maybe that's a possibility of what the PlayStation 4 will offer, but again, they never said anything about it in the PowerPoint. Double tomahawk, motherfucker. So anyway, carrying on. So they also put a large emphasis on the social factor of the PlayStation 3, and if you hear rustling in a second, it's because I'm just changing over my notes. So yeah, they pointed out very a lot that it was going to be a very social console. So then they went more into the console functions. So the console will apparently no longer turn off unless you turn it off at the switch. It will only have a sleep mode, so you can walk up to it, press one button, and then be done. It will wake up almost instantaneously, like if you've got your tablet or your smartphone, and so you'll press a button and it'll be there instead of having to wait for a slow time for the hard drive to speed up. Also, there will be a secondary low power CPU which will enable the PlayStation 4 to download updates and games in the background of games. Now this is, as I used to be an Xbox gamer, this will be a fantastic feature. No longer do you have to go and do something else while you're waiting for your update to install or your map pack to install. You can actually carry on gaming, which I know you can do this on the PC, but it's just if you're a console gamer, this will be a breath of fresh air to you. So they went on to show a bit of the AI. Now the AI struck me straight away as looking very much like Big Picture on the Steam, well, by Valve for Steam, and it was also very much like Windows 8. Now I'm not saying anything bad about these because I love the interface of both of these softwares. So yeah, the AI it looked very nice and simple, but then also it had a sense of complexity to it, so there was a lot of features packed into the simple AI. AI? No, UI, not AI. God. So, and then this is also very interesting. Like, you will be able to live stream every game from your console with one touch of the share button. Now this is amazing compared to how you've normally got to do it. You'd normally have to plug in, you'd have to buy maybe an £80 HD recorder, then you'd then have to plug it into your laptop or your computer. Normally a computer, because you need a good processor inside of it. You then need to get some streaming software, which I can't recall what it's called, and then stream it actually up, which would take a lot of bandwidth and a lot of effort, and sometimes people just couldn't be asked to do it in a way because it was such a long process. But now you can simply, with one touch of a button, either share it to your friends or everybody through Ustream and also the PlayStation. So this will also be viewable on third-party devices such as iPhones. Well, I'm not too sure about iPhones, but I mean smartphones, tablets, and PS Vitas, and also on a web browser. Now this is just amazing. The fact that you can access games from anyone, because anybody could stream. If your grandma had a PlayStation, she could stream, because it's as simple as just pressing one button. Now it's just a revolution to the gaming industry, I believe, because now streaming is going to be like the new TV in a way. So yeah, so as I said earlier, the PlayStation 4 is very social profile based. So like, they also showed, it looked like Facebook at first, but it was a PlayStation social profile for your PSN. It had a picture, it had your birthday on it, it had your recent games, your recent trophies on it. So they are really hitting for the social. They want you to use them as as their Facebook and stuff like that. So anyway, next there was a guy from, I believe, Gaikai. I'm not too sure, I've wrote it weird. And these are a cloud gaming based company which were purchased by Sony around a year ago, I believe, and they've been working, well, now Sony own them. Sony have been working with them to tightly integrate them within the PlayStation 4. Now this leads me on to my hard drive thing. My hard drive, the fact that they highlighted that it had a hard drive inside of it. So by the looks of it, they are going to make the PlayStation 4 cloud-based gaming only, meaning that you have to have an internet connection to play, but I'll get onto that a bit more later. So the PlayStation 4 has Facebook integration, like the PlayStation 3 has some Facebook integration, like your trophies will be posted, but apparently the Facebook integration will be much more tightly knit. So your friends, when you are sharing the game, your friends on PSN can take control of the game and get you past the point which you may be stuck on. Now this is amazing. So the amount of times I've been stuck on a game and then I've called one of my friends over to help me through it, it's just crazy. So people will be able to control your game much like remote desktop, but they won't have to be there, they can just do it online. Now that is, I believe it's just amazing. So this was also amazing. If you own the PlayStation Vita, if you're maybe sat on your PlayStation 4, and you're playing a game, and you're on an amazing streak, but then maybe, this is a bit like out there, but maybe you need a poo. You can then take your PlayStation Vita, play the exact thing that you was playing on the PlayStation 4, and sit and play it on the Vita. Now the first thing that popped into my mind was Project Shield. This is very much like the Project Shield. Now they didn't say if the PlayStation Vita would be doing the processing, or the graphics processing, or whether the PlayStation 4 would be doing the graphics processing, them streaming over the images, but we'll have to see how that plays out. So then they also went more into not the social, but the video viewing. So the fact that they wanted to be your central hub for your TV. also they showed that Hulu would be on the PlayStation 4, which I don't believe it is on the PlayStation 3 at the moment. Voodoo would also be on there. Netflix and Amazon Instant Stream would also be on there, among with a host of other things like MLB. So yeah, they also announced some games such as Killzone Shadowfall, which looked absolutely amazing. The particle physics on it, and that game was also amazing. Now then, they announced Drive Club. Now, me and Extrolines were blown away by the just the sheer detail of the cars. I mean, we play PC obviously, and it was PC is no match for this game. It could probably play on a PC, but you could physically see the grains of the metal where the wheels were. So yeah, that was just amazing. And then also Infamous Second Son was also announced, and then they also focused on how indie publishers would be really supported on the PlayStation 4 so that they could publish their games on the PlayStation Network. So anyway guys, thanks for listening to me, and if you enjoyed the video, then could you please like the video, favourite if you found it was good, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos from Team Joker UK. Anyway guys, thanks.